Okay, pillars of 5G. So one thing to remember, as we move from one generation to another, right? Let's say from 2G to 4G, the requirement was higher data rate. But if you look at 5G, right? So that's not the case. Okay. So 5G has three pillars, which is enhanced mobile broadband, massive Internet of Things, and mission critical services. So if you look at this picture, what it says is that it's not only about higher data rate, but it has some other purpose also. 5G has some other purpose. Okay. So first, let us start with this first pillar. Okay. Enhanced mobile broadband. So enhanced mobile broadband, you can imagine that this is a succession or a progression from 4G. That means when we moved from 2G to 3G, the data rate increased. So 3G to 4G, again, the data rate increased. 4G to 5G, also the data rate increased almost by 10 times. Okay. And this enhanced mobile broadband actually represents that. So enhanced mobile broadband means that it's a succession of 4G where the data rate has increased. Okay. So that is what is this first pillar. So it supports ultra high speed connection, whether you are indoor or outdoor, and it provides a good quality of service. What is the meaning of good quality of service is that even if you are farther away from the tower, the signal reception should be very good and your data rate should also be high. So the data rate should not drop. It should be very high data rate, even if you are very farther from the tower. That's why it is called as enhanced mobile broadband. Okay. So the requirement is in 5G is that let's say you are traveling in a high speed car or a high speed train, or you're traveling high speed, you're driving on a highway at high speed, let's say 100 kilometers, 120 kilometers, something like that. You should still be getting data like in terms of Gbps. Let's say you should be getting data in terms of 1 Gbps, even if you're traveling very fast in a car. Okay, so that's the kind of a requirement in 5G. So some of the applications are AR, VR, which is augmented reality, virtual reality, video streaming, online gaming, downloads. So what do I mean by downloads is sometimes if you're playing online games, or if you're streaming something, right? Before playing a game, you want to download it. Sometimes the download itself is that file itself is probably like in GB, like 1 GB, right? And the download in older technologies used to take like 1 hour, 2 hours just to download the file, right? Like in 5G, it should happen in few seconds. It should happen in 10 seconds. Let's say you should be able to download a file. Okay, that's the requirement here. Okay, that's the first pillar. And the second pillar is massive Internet of Things. So I'm sure you've all heard of IoT, which is Internet of Things. So massive Internet of Things is also called as massive machine type communication, or MMTC. Okay, so what it means is it supports a very large number of connected devices. So we are talking about huge number of devices, like thousands of devices, lakhs of devices, which are connected to the 5G network. And it doesn't mean that it requires high data rate, right? Let's say you have thousands of sensors which you want to connect to the network. So what you do is you use this MMTC technology, or massive Internet of Things technology. All these sensors, right, thousands or lakhs of sensors, connect to the 5G network. The data rate may be very low, but there will be the density will be very high. That means the devices which connect to the network are very high, but the data rate is very low. Okay, that's why it is called as massive Internet of Things. Okay, one thing I forgot to tell you at the beginning of the session. So please take down notes. You will have a quiz at the end of the session. Okay, so you need to write a quiz. So whatever I'm talking here, so these terminologies you may have to write down. Okay, so what is the requirement? So the requirement in massive Internet of Things is you should be able to connect, right? The network should be able to connect up to 1 million devices. So 1 million is 10 lakhs. So the network should be able to connect up to 10 lakh devices to the network at a time. Okay, that's the requirement. Okay, so these are some of the applications. So it can be huge number of devices, like it can be in smart agriculture, or smart metering, or smart city, where you have multiple sensors which are connected to the 5G network. Okay, what is the next pillar? It is called as mission critical services. So in mission critical services, what happens is you are going to connect. You are thinking about connecting to the network which requires time criticality is there. Okay, time and reliability criticality. So what it means is mission critical services is also called as URLLC. Okay, URLLC. URLLC means ultra reliable low latency communication. Okay, ultra reliable, that means the reliability of the network has to be very high, and low latency. Latency means delay. So the round trip, the communication that happens from your device goes to the tower, it does something and it comes back to you, all that has to happen within a very short time. That means the delay has to be very less. That's why it is called as low latency communication. It is also called as ultra reliable communication. Okay, that's a stringent requirement that is required in 5G. So the question is, okay, what should be that number? So in case of latency, the latency expected in 5G is 1 millisecond. Okay, that means you are picking up a call, you're picking up your phone, trying to make a call to your friend, let's say 5G call. So the information goes to the tower, and the tower talks to the other towers, and then it tells your friend that, okay, there is a call. All this should happen within 1 millisecond. Okay, that call establishment and everything should happen within like 1 millisecond. The delay should be that low. So it should be like instantaneous. Okay, that's the specification. Similarly, the reliability here has to be 99.9999. That means there are 4 nines after the decimal point. Okay, so that's the expectation of reliability in 5G. So these are some applications. So obviously you and me in daily life, we don't need that kind of reliability or low latency. So obviously there are some industries like autonomous driving, in the oil and gas industry, in robotic surgery, where these kind of reliability and latency requirements are required. Okay, so today we don't really require that kind of ultra reliable and low latency communication systems. Okay, and even the specification today has not fully matured to support this feature, this pillar. So today 5G supports this. This is partially there. This is not yet there. This is still in progress. Okay, what is MMTC stands for? So MMTC stands for massive machine type communication. Small m stands for massive machine type communication. Okay, let me move to the next slide. So I'm the founder of company DTRI. So it's an upskills company where we do embedded systems, IoT and 5G technology certification programs. And we also do placement for engineering students. So you can contact us. So there is a website that you can visit, ttri.in. You can also connect through, you can send me an email, or you can also send WhatsApp message on this number if you have any questions. So please join our LinkedIn group. So you can type Deshila Technology Research Institute on LinkedIn, and you can join our page there. And you can also ask questions there, and also about any new events that we are conducting. So we frequently update this page with our events. And just to give you a quick glimpse of what we are doing in terms of research. So so we are based out of Mysore in Karnataka, and we have our own 5G test bed. So this is the picture of 5G test bed, which is used for education purpose. So if you see here, I've written the use cases. So we use it for EMBB focused configuration, some kind of testing and all that, mainly used for education and research. And we have collaborated with the Institute of Science, Bangalore. Department of Science and Technology has funded this program, and we are based at SJC Step Mysore.